Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. I want to give you a short tutorial on how to use iMovie to create your digital story. The first thing we want to do is we want to go up. This is iMovie opened up, so if you don't have it opened up, go ahead and click iMovie on the bottom of your desktop, your icon. Once it's open, we're going to go File, New Project. I've already done that, so we have a new project set up here that I can go in and begin to drag my media. Now all of you are going to be creating digital stories, so I want to show you how you can bring in some text slides, how you can bring in your images, and how you can add music and transitions to really give your project a good feel. So the first thing we want to do is let's go ahead and just add in some text. I'm going to give you an example of making up a portfolio. So if you look in iMovie, this bar to the right here where my cursor is, this is really where you're going to bring in, all of your media tools. Okay, so text. Let's start with text. Text is the T. And what it does is it gives us all of these options down here on the right corner. And as you place your cursor over, if there is an effect that your text is going to have, it's going to show you as you place your cursor over that particular text box. So let's go ahead and start with this one right here, the sideways drift. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to drag that right into my, my project window. When I click on text, I have to pick a background. So, I'm a photographer, so of course I love black and white. So I'm going to just stick with the plain black. And here's where it's going to show me what my screen looks like. So I'm going to type in where it says title text. I'm just going to type in, Dina's portfolio. Okay, let's say I'm just putting a little portfolio together to share. Now I've typed everything in. If I want to see what that action's going to do, I'm going to click this play button right here, and it's going to show me Dina's portfolio and how it's going to show when I actually put the project together. If I want to change the font, I could I could go on to choose fonts, and it's going to give me all of my options on font style, and it's going to show me as I click down what it's going to look like. I can actually change the color of my font as well. I think the black and white is probably the most impactful right now, so I'm going to stick with that. And then I could change the size of my font. So since it's the title, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I can also change with the alignment, left, center, or right aligned. I've got some other font styling down here where my cursor is. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to click done. Okay, we're going to click done right on that. The next thing I want to do is to start to bring in some of my photographs, and this is what you're going to be doing with your digital story. So let's go on to the little camera here, and I have everything into my iPhoto section. So I am going to bring things in from there. And you could actually go on, if you had a screenshot, you could bring that and you would just drag that in. But let's go, and I'm just going to highlight, I'm going to hold down my shift key and highlight several of these images and drag them all in at once. I click and drag into my project window, and it's going to show me each of my images. You're going to see your cursor here. This red line is showing you where you're at in your project. So if I want to play from here, I'm going to hit my space bar, and it's going to start to go through the media that I've placed in there already. Okay, and it's going to show me, if I were to play it now, what it's going to look like. There's a couple of things going on here. I'm going to hit my space bar again to stop the movement. The effect that's being brought onto these images right now is called the Ken Burns effect, and I want to change that because for a photography portfolio, I want the whole image to be seen. So I'm going to click on the image so that I have the little yellow box around, and right here is my little inspector, my precision editor. And I can actually go in and change the way that my images are going to be viewed. The Ken Burns effect is where you begin the image, or begin showing the image at a certain section, and you can end it at a certain section. For example, if I hit start and end here, if I want to click that to where it starts and where the image ends, as it plays, it's going to show me where I placed the crop box to start and where I placed the crop box to end. That's a great tool for certain situations. For this one, it doesn't really work with what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to hit fit, and it's going to show the entire image, and that's what I want for this particular photograph or this particular portfolio. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I could either go here to my precision editor, or there's the inspector down here that's going to bring up some similar options and some different things that you can go ahead and change. Okay, if it were a video clip, you would have all sorts of different tools that you can use. Okay, so let's click on that and let's change that cropping again. We're going to hit fit, okay, and then we're going to hit done. And I'm going to do that in each of these. Oh, and I didn't do that one right, but let's go back in there and I'm going to hit fit to make sure I can see the whole image, because as a photographer, if you were ever showing this to somebody, you want them to see your entire image so they can get a sense for your composition and your framing. Okay, great. So that's done. So now we have these images and we click done here. We have these images and I have this, I'm starting to get this put together, and as it's filtering through, you're seeing that it's going on to the images for, I think about 4 seconds. So I could change that if I wanted to. If I hit my space bar just to stop that, I can see if I, hover over each particular image, it's saying 4S, that means it's 4 seconds. So I could go in and actually change that to, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. If I go into my inspector button right down here, it's going to show me that my clip is 4 seconds. So I can change that if I want to, all right? I'm going to leave it at 4 seconds right now just to get through this tutorial, and then you can go in and change yours however you would need to, all right? But what's happening, I've noticed as I'm playing this, is it's kind of an abrupt change through the images. So we want to go in and maybe add some transitions. So let's go down to our transitions key, all right? Along this bar where we've been getting our images and we've been incorporating some text slides, there's also a transitions bar. So let's click on that. And this is a really great part about iMovie, and something that I love is all of the options on transitions. So again, just like the text box, if you place your cursor over, it's going to show you exactly what that transition is going to look like. So you can see you have a pretty good variety of images. There's a swap, there's a cube, there's a mosaic. So let's choose this one. How about the circle open? All right, so I'm going to again click on that and I'm going to drag it in between the images that I want to have the transition. So I'm just going to transition between, and you can see I'm just clicking and dragging and placing it between the images that I want. When I see that green line is there, we can actually use it at the end as well. Okay, so I'm just going to keep placing and clicking and dragging, and we've got one more there. So we've placed all these transitions in here, okay, and if I click on this, I see it's a 1.5 second transition. I could change that in my little inspector if I wanted to. So let's start with that. Let's see how this is going to look. Okay, we're just going to play it. Here's the transition, so you can see the nice, smooth, less abrupt change between each of the images. And you can, pick a transition that's going to suit your needs for your particular project. Okay, great. So there's the end of the project. So we want to put something, we want to add another text. Don't mind that, that's another project in the window that I had worked on earlier. I'm going to go back in and choose another text box because I want to put something at the end just to say, maybe the end or, any other information that I would need to do. Or need to add in. So I could use the sideways drift again. I could use another one of these transitions. I think it's pretty neat as a photographer. There's one called lens flare. So I'm going to click and drag right into that box. And again, I have to pick my background. I'm going to stick with the black. And then I'm just going to type in my text and put the end. Okay, and click done. And what this is going to do, if I bring this space bar back just by using my cursor, and I hit the space bar to play it, I'm going to show that that's the end, okay? And I have that nice little lens flare in there, which is a great way to end it. The last thing I want to do is I want to add some music to this because we can really set a nice mood by adding music. So I've come back over here to this little musical note and clicked on that, and you can see you have quite a variety of music to choose from. There's animals, there's jingles, there's people. You can create an MP3 file, your own music, and get it from GarageBand. It's really quite amazing. Down here are the other music tracks that you can choose from, and you really have to listen to them to get a great feel for how it's going to affect your project. So let's just pick one here. I'm going to click on this 44th Street Long, and I'm going to play it. Okay, that would work pretty well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click that music file and I'm going to drag it into my window. And what it's going to do is going to add the entire music file onto my images. You can change that if you highlight your music file. If you want it to end at a certain slide, you can cut that clip. You can bring that back. You can drag it back to wherever whatever section you would like. Okay, so that's a really great way to add a little bit of a mood to your project. The last thing that I want to do is I found that it's really nice when you do a fade in and a fade out of the music. So I have the music highlighted. I know it by the yellow bar. I'm going to go into my inspector and I'm going to click on audio. And here I'm going to add a little bit more of a fade in and a fade out. So it's not an abrupt ending to where the music is. I've noticed it on the fade out especially. So let's go in. I'm going to add about 1.5 seconds on the fade out. And once that's where I want it, I'm going to hit done. And now we're going to go back and see if this is what we want. Here we go. Hey, very cool. I noticed that it didn't play the first slide, but if you played it, there it is. Okay, and then it's just going to filter in and out, and you can tweak the images you have in there. If you don't want a particular image in there, you just click and hit delete, and it erases that particular image. iMovie is a really great way to start putting together your digital stories. So I hope you got a lot of information out of this tutorial. When you're ready and done with your project, you're going to hit share and you're going to export it. I've exported the movie or also using QuickTime. When you do export it, it's going to ask for you to title it. So I'm going to call this Dina Portfolio. Okay, and then I would click save and it would export to my desktop or whatever folder I wanted that to save in. Okay, so thanks very much. Hope you learned a lot about iMovie and let's get started on your digital stories. Bye-bye.